So how the Vedic face reading came into all this means your foundation is going to crumble. Something is going to fall apart in your life. Entities that attach on to or that play tricks. So what it looks like when you get a reader that pulls energy or information from a lower level frequency. If you truly want to create the reality of your dreams and more in alignment with your soul, you have to. And the only way to truly understand this, guys, to truly understand this is to Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Conscious Coffee Talks, where we discuss topics to expand our consciousness and improve our lives. My name is Andrea Johnson, and I am your spiritual inspiration. And I'm on another dimension right now because I just got done with 8 hours of Kundalini yoga. Okay, it wasn't really 8 hours. I think it was more like 5 or 6, but nonetheless, we are feeling good. So guys, I'm coming at you today with a video inspired by today's Kundalini yoga class, which was all over Vedic face reading. Now, I know what you're thinking, Andy, that doesn't sound like Kundalini yoga, and it's not. This is not your typical Kundalini yoga class. It is actually the second part called grad school, and it's more into the esoteric aspect of energy work or healing arts, so shall we say. So let's dive in. So the topic really came to me during our creative meditation, of course. It just dropped into my little crown chakra. It reminded me of a video that I just recently watched. I'll put it down below. It was by RJ Spina, I think his name was. He made a video basically stating how the spiritual community, and in my opinion, just our world essentially, is creating alternate realities based in fear. And we all kind of already knew this, but today's class really reminded me of it because when we discussed more of the Vedic face reading, which is an esoteric energy read essentially, it's basically doing the same thing. And what this reminded me of also is just the psychic work that I do and psychics in general, how important it truly is to get a good psychic, because you can create alternate timelines with your mindset based upon fear. So let's dive into this concept. If you don't know how an intuitive read goes, or an energy read, or when you're working with energy work, psychic development, things like that with other people, it's super important to get a good reader or to get a good-hearted, centered person who knows energy work, who knows how the mind works, how the mind-body-spirit connection works, and how reality is created off of your mindset. Not a lot of people understand this, let alone feel this on the inside, and RJ Spina was talking about this as well, just in a sort of different conscious, expansive way of getting back in touch with the authentic self, which is love. So when you go and get a reading from a psychic or working with somebody in energy work, you want to get somebody who is authentic and in love, because that's the timeline that they're going to help you create for yourself. That's the reality that they're going to help you create, which is the whole point of you going and working with this individual or getting a good reading despite whatever cards come your way, or even, let's say, a Vedic face reading. I'll go into that of how that works as well, because this individual is going to help you, no matter what the reading comes out as, create the highest timeline possible for yourself and give you faith in it. Because ultimately, no matter what, guys, whatever comes at you, whatever cards come out, whatever the reader says, ultimately they are pulling data from the energy field. They are spilling truth, but it depends upon which truth they're tapping into. It depends upon what energy they're tapping into and channeling through the body and giving to you, right? So you want somebody who can tap into high states of love and wisdom and energy to bring forth that to you, to put that into your energy field despite whatever is going on in your life. Because what is going to end up happening is, if you can get somebody who does that, it's going to transcend that energy in your field no matter what you have, right? And then shift you to a higher timeline. So what it looks like when you get a reader that pulls energy or information from a lower level frequency, or RJ calls this entities that attach on to or that play tricks on the reader and the readee, that they're in the astral realm of energy and basically they attach themselves to the reader or readee, and then you create with that energy. You create your reality with that energy instead of high light and love energy. If you get a reader who is tapping into lower level frequencies, they will read you out what they feel in your energy field and it won't feel good for you. It will leave you feeling drained. It will leave you feeling worried. It will instill fear in you rather than help you see the higher road. Say you get a reading from a tarot reader and you get the Tower card, essentially, which, if you're not familiar with tarot, the Tower card means your foundation is going to crumble. Something is going to fall apart in your life, and people typically associate that with something not good, right? So the reader could spin a story or read the energy that, oh, you're about to go through a massive breakup, your whole life is going to change, and then leaving you very depleted, very fearful, because maybe you're having issues in your relationship and this just solidified a timeline that you are going to break up, when it doesn't have to be like that. The reader just read you one possibility that could happen in the moment when it is liable to change, let alone that they could have given you a higher timeline for you to create from, to not have that fear take over your life, right? So they could have said something about how that something was going to end up making room for a new positive thing that was for you in your life, but you needed to transition. You needed to make room for it in your energy field. Something that was for you, that was going to create life more in alignment with your soul, right? Because maybe that relationship was toxic or something along those lines. So that is a higher perception shift from saying you're about to lose your relationship. And it's not even to say that it's going to happen. It's all up on how much faith that you're putting into the reading that this reader is giving you, right? So that is just one example of a lower level entity or frequency instilling fear rather than love in the situation, right? So that's why it's super important to know your reader, to get a good one who is filled with authenticity, who taps into the highest timeline, and who can tap into neutrality to hold basically an unbiased reading rather than spilling their energy all over you as well too. This is important as well. So how the Verdict Face reading came into all this and reminded me of that was that it's an intuitive energy read of somebody's facial features, of explaining the trauma in their face, of how their facial features are describing the energy within and the experience or their soul story that they essentially have, and even to say where features show up at on their face, like marks or scars or something like that, to predict out their future as well too. So it's essentially it's the same thing, kind of, where the cards basically have a baseline, a storyline, and the reader is reading the energy in the cards, or your energy tied into the cards, right? And it's the same thing with the face reading. It still is an intuitive read, and it still is helping you understand yourself more, and hopefully the reader is giving it to you at a higher perception. Now, RJ talked about it a little bit differently in his video, not so much on like the psychic reader emphasis of it, but describing how people know how the mind, body, spirit works, and how they're keeping people trapped in a timeline of fear, because fear leaves you powerless, essentially, right? And that is where society creates this basically timeline of fear, or this world for control over you. What he was saying more so in the spiritual community, online community, fear sells, and it does. Fear plays on insecurities, not to just go about with the world and marketing, but fear sells because it's clickbait. Fear sells because people want to know how to escape it. It gets them in the trap of healing, of constantly needing to feel like they need to be healed, and then going back to readers or buying crystals or things like that. Now, don't get me wrong. Please do not get me wrong. I have a house full of crystals. I freaking love them, but I don't buy them out of fear, right? When you take an action out of fear, that is the reality that you create. And even if you're buying a crystal out of fear, you essentially are signaling to yourself that you need this to help heal you, when in reality you really don't. RJ also goes more into how to avoid all of this, which essentially, yes, he is right in the aspect of, if you truly want to create the reality of your dreams and more in alignment with your soul, you have to get in touch with the authentic self, which is going within. You don't need readings, essentially. You don't need somebody to give you anything outside of yourself. This tarot or Vedic face reading. They are tools to help you get back into alignment with yourself. And it's ultimately the power that you give these things, which is kind of dangerous in an aspect if you don't get a good reader, obviously, because you're putting the power outside of yourself rather than creating your reality, rather than being the creator, getting in touch with the authentic self, the heart center, the thing that is already fulfilled, that doesn't need to look to external things to tell it its reality, right? Because it creates it, knowing the thoughts and the emotions and the actions that it takes is what the reality will be. So no matter what, guys, if somebody gives you a reading and you don't like it, you don't have to believe it. You don't have to choose that reality, but people don't understand they have the choice. You have the choice in everything that you do, right? And yes, it's even to say that, well, how do I control my external world? I can't control what happens to me in my world or like the outside world. I can't control if my significant other leaves me. No, you can't. But you can control how you react, and that also creates your reality. These lower level things that we want to tell ourselves are lower level can actually be happening for us, right? Something can be happening for us. We can always take a quote unquote negative situation and see the light in it, because there is always light and dark aspects of our world, right? It just depends what you are telling yourself, what the left brain is interpreting the logic as with the emotion. The right side of the brain, we're constantly trying to piece together why things are happening, and the story that you tell yourself on why something happened will be why it happened. It will be your reality despite whatever it truly is, which is ultimately everything happening for you, because we live in a universe full of love. The universe is God, right? God is love. So ultimately everything's happening for you. And the only way to truly understand this, guys, to truly understand this is to bring your conscious awareness back to your body, meditation. And I know you're probably thinking like, oh, whatever, you know, this is true. The truth is within you. It literally is. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It is right here in the center of your chest. And not a lot of people touch base with it, let alone understand it. And you don't even have to understand it. All you have to do is feel it, to feel your truth, and you have to be in the present moment to do it. This is where meditation helps, because it's going to bring your conscious awareness to your body to then remember your truth, that you are the creator and that you are a limitless being, just having a human experience. Therefore, there is a perceived concept of limitation because of the delay in time in this construct of a reality, right? In this dimension that we are in. There is just the rules of this dimension that we are playing by. We are playing the game of life by it. You have that delay. If you 100% know, right, the thought, or you know the reality that you want to create, if you know your authentic nature, your truth, who you truly are, it will happen for you, but not in the way that you think it will, right? It just is your faith that you have in yourself, that you are the creator, that it's going to happen, right? You have to trust yourself. You have to build the faith over time. You have to trust yourself to take the action, and that is part of it too in this physical world. You do have to be a vibrational match for it, but to be a vibrational match, you have to radiate from inside out, right? You have to become that vibration. So RJ said it really well, that you truly don't have to attract anything. You just have to be it. And ultimately, when you touch base with the authentic self, you are the abundance. You are everything that you need right there. Right? You just have to allow it to come out, and you understand that there is nothing to even want. There is just beingness. You are completely fulfilled how you are. And this is true. You get that feeling, and then it's like you don't need to create anything. You just need to vibrate it. Right? I don't know how else to explain it. So ultimately, it's just tapping into your truth and your authentic nature and creating whatever you want to create with that. That is the whole point of the material world, is to bring form to the formless, to be the channel of that love that we essentially are, and create matter with it. We are basically creating God in matter. We're combining form and formless, right? And our human mind can't really comprehend what we are or wrap it all the way around it because of the human experience that we are having. So we have to constantly remind ourselves of our truth, and this is where meditation will help you every single day. You know, yes, we can use these tools. Crystals, amazing tools. Love it. Love them, love them. They radiate a great frequency. Sound healing, great tool, right? Energy work like Reiki, great tool. But when you have readers or prophecies foretell you of your energy or tell you of your future or try to tell you those things, if it's not what you want, you don't have to play into that reality, right? If there's fear, you don't have to play into it. And that is how you know that it's an entity or that's a trickster or whatever you want to call it, or the reader is tapping into energy that is of lower level frequency if it invokes fear in you. If there is anything that doesn't feel good or in alignment with you, toss it out the window. It doesn't have to be your reality. You don't have to create on that timeline. We shift timelines with every thought that we have, and every emotional charge behind it solidifies or brings it closer, right? So if you're fearful, that's a strong emotion, right, behind a timeline. So then it can manifest, okay? So love is also the strong emotion as well too. So it can manifest quicker the more love that you have behind something. That's how this works. But the change in thought can change the reality in an instant, right? And you don't have to feed it. You can also change the emotion, which will also change the reality. So guys, I know this was like a very unscripted video, but it's something that I really wanted to touch base on, especially with me working at a spiritual wellness center, Mystics. I mean, it's a Mystics Spiritual Oasis. I work with readers. I am an energy worker. I work in their energy field and I tell them what is in their field. But I always make sure that when I tell people what is in their field and what I came across, that it is from an authentic place and I'm holding space and love for that person, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to get to the root of the issue that's going on in their life, and we're going to shift to a higher perspective. We're going to learn something, and we're going to consciously choose to change our reality and our external world to a higher one, right? Because there is probably some action that you do have to take in, you know, if you're going to go get healing or something like that to change your external world, but it all has to start on the inside first, okay? I hope this video helped you guys see truth. This is honestly how it works, and you will understand it when you touch base with yourself. You will understand it when you come back to the authentic self, and it takes work. It is an experience. It is a spiritual experience to have, and when you have it, when you have that experience in the physical body and your body feels it and knows this truth, nothing can shake you, okay? You'll have to come back to your remembering of it. With that being said, I am putting a shameless plug. This is not what this video was about. We as in Mystic Spiritual Oasis is having a psychic party. There are authentic readers there. I work with all of these or most of these people, but they are authentic readers. We are doing free readings for the community that we serve, basically. So come to our psychic party, come sit down, let me give you a chakra reading, let me do some quantum connect with you. We have tarot, we have oracle, we'll have pendulum bones, readings like that, and they are heart-centered people. So with that being said, guys, I'm sending you all my light and all my love. Satnam.